This is the cabin, exact replica of the Shiloh log church that was built in 1851. This style of meeting place is typical of the frontier meeting houses for different denominations. So you came in that side, that door. This is what it looked like. And then on the side, so I guess the preacher would stand here behind the pulpit. In the wintertime, I'm sure he wouldn't be standing too close to that. But this is really neat. This would have been a typical church structure and meeting place that the Cherokees had. Evan Jones would have preached out of something like this. A lot of the frontier preachers would have preached out of something like this. Very similar. The Baptists would have been meeting in meeting places like this, as well as Methodists. Of course, this is the Shiloh Methodist Church. Presbyterians. A lot of the missions to the native tribes were in this fashion. So an interesting event with Evan Jones and Jesse Bushyhead was, and as well as some other native preachers. So when Evan Jones was a supporter of John Ross, and they were anti-treaty for the new treaty and removal, and Evan Jones was arrested. There was another fellow preacher with him that was arrested, and he was jailed because he was going around and being very outspoken against the new treaty and the removal of the Cherokees from their homeland. So they arrested Evan Jones, and he was in jail. He was released on the condition that he would help them collect guns from the Cherokees. Evan Jones, of course, did not do that. He instead decided he didn't want to collect their weapons, so he just went and asked. He said he would just ask them if they could turn in their weapons, but he wasn't going to. Evan Jones stood firmly and adamantly against the new treaty. So they told him not to preach anymore. Not only did they jail Evan Jones, then they tried to bribe him. Then they wanted him to go and get the weapons from the firearms from the Cherokees. He wouldn't do that. So out of the district, or I don't know if it was the reservation at that time, or he went and built a meeting place like this. They wouldn't let him preach anymore among the Cherokees, so he went outside the boundaries and he built a meeting place, and he began to preach whatever he wanted to preach. And many were getting saved and coming to Christ, getting converted, and there were, I forget how many baptisms. They started having baptism service, but he built a similar meeting place, just similar to this cabin, And he continued to hold services and to be outspoken against the new treaty. And so I just wanted to mention that. So this would have been very similar. Could you imagine going to church on Sunday morning in a place like this? Going to protracted, sometimes they would have revival meetings that would last for a month or two. And they would meet in places like this, or they would meet outdoors, the old brush arbor meetings and so forth. So there it is, the old cabin.